In the last video, I talked about two main drivers for Portal: automation and self-service, and those are themes I'm going to return to again and again in a series. It's a great place for us to start to drill into examples, so let's take each one in turn. Automation is about building a platform to iteratively improve your internal processes over time. It's really important not to try automating everything from day one, as this inevitably bloats the project and makes it less likely to go ahead at all. And I'll cover that in the next video. The best way to start automating internal processes is to ask your team to list repetitive manual tasks they perform today. At this point, do not ask them to put a time effort against each one of them. Simply let them list everything out and then look for patterns. So for example, there might be a lot of actions like, processing incoming emails of a certain type or maintaining email distribution lists, neither of which feel important on their own. But repeated again and again and again, they contribute to the general noise that sucks their time and might therefore be something you could automate. Remember, we're looking for low-hanging fruit here right at the beginning, so just to get the ball rolling. To give you some initial ideas, I'll put up the results here of a LinkedIn poll that we ran a little while ago to ask a similar question. Now, this question was focused specifically on onboarding, and so the answers we received were also quite specific as well. We can clearly see that people are spending a lot of time capturing conformance evidence or setting up IT or networks for conformance. Capturing conformance evidence is something that can be automated using various vendor tools, including our own. We could take it one step further in support portals, however, perhaps letting customers trigger their own conformance, setting their own scope and guiding themselves through conformance, with the data being captured automatically on the back end. That would clearly free up a lot of time for onboarders. Establishing network connections and configuring internal systems are examples of repetitive manual processes which can be automated over time. The challenge here always seems to boil down to getting the right information and interfacing into the right systems, which perhaps were never really designed to talk to the outside world anyway. I'll talk about how to interface with legacy systems in a later video, so for now let's simply focus on capturing information. Have you ever worked on a project where the kickoff is a one-liner from sales that doesn't really give you any information that you need? It just sets the project up to stutter right at the beginning or possibly even fail. It might not be the sales guy's fault, of course. They might not have the information to give you. So why not turn it into something that's a user-friendly form that the customer can fill out themselves, the person who has the information? Now, I'm not talking about some Excel or Word file here that you can fill out and email back, because that just creates a new need for somebody to copy and paste somewhere else. Instead, I'm talking about a form that the support portal has that captures the information directly from the customer and passes it in a machine-readable format into an automated process on the back end. That is how you start to reduce manual processes and remove errors. Now, this LinkedIn poll was focused on onboarding, of course, which is only part of the typical day-to-day job of a connectivity team. And so if you're not actively onboarding customers at the moment, or you've somehow plateaued in your customer list, then you might be asking, well, what else could you automate that might make it relevant for me? Well, there's a lot of routine data that's either sent out or received in from customers that might be suitable for a portal. Think about reference data around instruments or trading hours, intraday information around trading halts or corporate actions, or perhaps end-of-day reports. The distribution of things, including the maintenance of email distribution lists, can all be automated in a portal. If you distribute that stuff using SFTP today, then a portal might also be able to act as a way of modernizing it, giving a nice user-friendly UI view of the data, or converting it into a REST API, or possibly even a GraphQL API. Or simply offering a better way to automate the setting up of those SFTP accounts. Similarly, collecting information in. This might be regulatory data, such as trader short codes, or it might be technical tasks, such as opening up firewalls or declaring fixed comp IDs. These can all be handled by custom forms in a support portal, with the data being fed into an increasingly automated process on the back end. So that's automation. You get to tailor and extend these ideas to address your own biggest pain points. What about the second trend of self-service? If you've listened to any of my other videos, you'll probably know that I'm typically very, very scathing of long, boring PDF documents, the ones that we seem to be addicted to in financial services connectivity. Now, you might have told yourself that PDF is what customers expect or even demand, but I honestly think that that's simply because there's never been a real alternative. Google doesn't document their APIs using PDF, and that would just be kind of silly, frankly. Let's face it, online documentation is the future. PDFs cannot continue. It is simply a matter of time. But look, I get it. Everybody has Word on their PC. It's easy. Exporting to PDF is simple and free. And compared to learning HTML or Markdown and then battling with marketing or IT to host it somewhere, honestly, PDF seems like a breeze. But when we talk about PDF, we need to be really honest with ourselves. PDF isn't what customers want. It isn't the only way of freezing content or getting your branding right. That's not true. It's bullshit. You do it because it's convenient, and that's it. Okay, rant over. Let's move on. Another problem firms struggle with is how to split a lot of information across various documents correctly. They often find that they give customers multiple documents that they then need to cross-reference in order to get the full picture. Do I split the functional descriptions from the API message tables is a question that we get quite a bit. Should I have a separate connectivity guide, that sort of thing. And this is an often overlooked benefit of online documentation in the first place. The ability to break down a lot of complex information into bite-sized pieces that then can be reused, reorganized, and filtered in a way that lets users find what they need quickly and easily without the need for cross-referencing. So imagine, for example, if a reader arrived on your portal and only saw API documentation for products or functionality that they were signed up to use, instead of showing them absolutely everything and forcing them to wade through a load of stuff that wasn't relevant for them, potentially confusing for them along the way. Wouldn't that make everything so much clearer for them and reduce the number of queries? Now, you might be listening to that and saying, well, yes, Chris, but that part of that is marketing. It's showing them what they're missing. Honestly, guys, there is a much better and more efficient way of communicating that stuff than confusing their junior developer. So self-service isn't just about API documentation, of course. It might also include things like billing, reporting, or perhaps downloading agreements. If that information is sensitive, then simply design a secure way of storing and delivering it that stops it falling into the wrong hands. Don't throw the whole baby out with the bathwater and say that we can't do it because we've got one sensitive piece of information in there. Based on other LinkedIn polls, we know that people also associate self-service with support ticketing. The trick here is to avoid creating yet another ticketing system to manage. Nobody wants that. Instead, you should integrate your existing systems and workflows. So no matter whether you use Jira or ServiceNow or something else, your goal should be to connect the support portal with that ticketing system's API, creating a closed loop that lets customers raise tickets and track them to resolution. And one final cherry on the cake here. Since all of this is online, you can easily start to track actions within the portal. This lets you measure KPIs and provides feedback on what customers are actually using in the portal to help you improve. So there you have it, a long list of 17 concrete examples of functionality that will make a support portal valuable for both you and your customers. Now, there's a real chance that you're staring at the screen like a deer in headlights right now, scared about how much work will be needed to actually get this project live. And if that's you, then don't worry, get up out of your seat, have a stretch, make a cup of tea, and join me in the next video when we can talk about how to avoid boiling that first ocean. So I'll see you in that video.